Just coming in towards Muckross Abbey. All the lovely avenues. Lovely lime trees. Look at the lime trees going off up there. That's sort of avenue up towards the present Muckross house. And here we go. Lime trees to the left and to the right of us. Daffodils just starting to come out. Oh, hang on, that's a beech tree. And the holly is native and all over the floor of Killarney National Park. So just coming around now to Muckross Abbey, which was built around 1448. And the McCarthy chieftain, towards the end of his days, wanted to build this, and he built it and paid for it and gave it to the Franciscans. Look at this. The legend is that to find the perfect place for this abbey, he was to listen to a beautiful young girl's voice. And he came here and he sat on a rock, heard the beautiful singing voice, and said, "This is where I am going to build the abbey for the Franciscans." In memory of James Genzie, the Killarney minstrel. He actually lived here for a little while, believe it or not. Here's Muckross Friary. The community here were observantine Franciscans, so called because of their rigid observance of the order's rule on matters such as diet, clothing, and possession of private property. The friary was dedicated to the Holy Trinity and is known to have had in its possession a miraculous statue of the Virgin. Muckross was suppressed by order of Henry VIII in 1541, but was formally re-established in 1612. The friars were eventually driven out by the Cromwellians, that's Oliver Cromwell, in 1652. So on the opposite side of the cloister is the kitchen and the refectory, or dining hall with storeroom beneath. On the east side is the sacristy attached to the church, and the chapter house where the community met to discuss business and to read the daily chapter of the order's rule. Now, there we are. Look at the lovely Kathy and Carolyn. If you're watching, do you remember coming here in a horse and carriage? There's one of the Cullity family burial grounds. Only all the old families of Killarney with tombs and graves here can be buried. So there are no new people being buried here. That's a McCarthy, Cronins, Humphreys, the Kennedy family, O'Connors. Oh, look at this. Kelleher's, O'Donoghue's. Still lots of O'Donoghue's and McCarthy's in this part of the world. Keogh, that's more a Wexford name, Keogh, from the southeast of Ireland. Tiernabowl, the Kelleher family. Lots of lovely tombs around here. Old tombs, look at the lovely old seat. Okay, there are a few people around here, so we'll do our best. Look at the lovely architecture here. I wonder what that's for. Is that for tying up your horse or something? Lots of tombs in here. And that's one to Christopher Galway, Gallwey, as opposed to the city, which is Galway. I probably shouldn't say this, but I am related to the Galways. And just up towards Ladies View, up that direction, there's the Galway Bridge and the Galway River. I think he was an agent for the Herbert family. the Galways. So, there we are. Look at that. So I say, I seem to be bringing you to a lot of holy places. It's called Muckross Abbey, but actually because it was a Franciscan friary, it should really be called the Muckross Friary rather than the Abbey. So see the holes up there. We might get up there in a minute. But the bell was up there, and down through those two holes were the ropes for ringing the bell. There's the O'Donoghue tomb, famous chieftains, and one of the famous poets from Killarney, I think it was Owen O'Rahilla, I think he's buried there. Should have done a lot more research, I'm sorry, before I do this. This is the main window of the church. Walls, and I think this is the McCarthy burial. The lettering has gone off a lot of this at one stage, but the main altar would have been up here and nearest that window, and the McCarthys being the sort of chieftains and the guys that built this friary would have been buried nearest to that window here at the end. So here we're going through. I hope there isn't too much noise in here. Look at this. This is a holy place. I'll just go in here. You can just imagine the monks going around saying their office every day. And here's a very famous yew tree that you will hear about. Look. Oh, look at the yew tree. Legend has it that the friary was actually built around the yew tree. And it's very bad luck, by the way, to go in and touch that. So don't touch it, for God's sake and for your sake. But look how well the structure is still. Usually there's nobody in here. There's a whole bunch of children in here at the moment. But anyway, they deserve to be in here as much as anybody else, I guess. And here is the actual original stone that McCarthy came to and sat on when he heard the beautiful song of the young lady singing. Rumour has it that the sapling for that tree came from Inishfallen Island, and that a sapling from there went into the new Franciscan friary in Killarney town. Oh, look at this. There we are. Just trying to give you a good view around it all. Never seen so many people around here. Bring you upstairs. The big fireplaces up here. You see, this is sort of living quarters. You can see the yew tree from here. These are the sleeping quarters up here. There's the top of the yew tree. And I'll go up and show you the main tower where the bell was. These doors I was showing you down in Ross Castle. So the ropes for the bells came through there, and the bell was up on top there, look. They re-roofed it. So there's quite a lot of work done on the restoration of the Friary of Muckross Abbey here by the Office of Public Works over the last sort of 50 or 60 years. Some slates put on that part of it. So imagine all the monks, they literally, it was a very quiet place of prayer. And when they were eating, they didn't say a word either. That's a view of it from up here. And the gardens were about a quarter of a mile over there towards Muckross House. Up in just off road, there's a road between here and Muckross House. But the gardens are just off to the left of that road as you're walking towards Muckross House. Oh, we're back in here again. There's another. Just want to show you the layout of it here. Now here we are, the Friary of Irla or Muckross. So the choir, the sacristy, the loft, the tower, the dormitory over the ambulatory. The monks went round and round saying their office, and the cloister here in the middle, and the yew tree. And the refectory is the really dark room we saw in there, and the kitchen beside it. The guardian's room over on this first floor. So that was it. Original work mid 15th century, and later work in the 15th or the 16th century. And this was done by the Office of Public Works, the OPW, in 1966. So there we are. I'll just bring you out here. So that's Muckross Abbey. Oh, I never said a little prayer for us all, which I always do. So we'll just say the Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. And the news is good today, that the amount of coronavirus is stabilizing and reducing around the world. Well done, South Korea, the best of class. And it's reducing in China, and there were less new cases in Italy yesterday, even though there were quite a lot of deaths. But please God, we're going to see the end of it in the next. It'll probably peak in a couple of weeks. And then, please God, it'll all be gone. What an awful time for the world. But hey, an awful lot of good is going to come out of this. Please God, in the years ahead, it's going to be a different world and a better world. And there we are, and I'm saying this from Muckross Abbey from the 15th century. A very, very special holy place. Lots of local Killarney people recently buried and buried here over the centuries. So, God bless the world.